Greetings and salutations, dreamers in dreamland. Welcome to the latest edition of Listen to Me. Let me tell you something right now. Today is the 15th of September, 2021. And, we're at the very end of summer. This is the very end of the summer. Like all good things, summer in this part of the world, it must come to an end. And, when it comes down to it, the summer for boxing, the summer lineup when the summer began, whether it was the PBC's lineup or TopRank's lineup or just the general boxing lineup, it had a lot of promise. But at the end of the summer, I'm going to give you a little summer review right now. And at the end of the summer, really what we have is a bummer. Summer's been a bummer. Period. End of story. Let me begin. In the beginning of the summer, there were talks we were supposed to have this big mega fight for the undisputed heavyweight championship of the boxing world between Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury. Tyson Fury himself announced it, said he spoke to a Saudi Arabian prince, blah, 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 blah. And what happened? The fight did not materialize. The next day, as a matter of fact, we were given the news that the arbitration between Wilder and Fury resulted in an ordered Wilder-Fury 3 fight that was ordered, and it was ordered to take place in July. So, while it wasn't AJ versus Fury, it was a big fight. Third time, Wilder and Fury were going to go at it for the ring, lineal and WBC championship of the world. Heavyweight championships of the world. And ultimately, that fight didn't happen. Tyson Fury got blovid, COVID, whatever you want to call it, whether you believe that he got COVID or you don't. At face value, he got COVID and the fight had to be postponed. So that fight didn't take place this summer. All summer long, we were anticipating this big fight between Errol Spence Jr., the unified welterweight champion of the world, the IBF WBC 147-pound champion, and Manny Pacquiao. And 2 weeks before that fight, which was supposed to take place on August 21st, about 2 weeks before that fight, Errol Spence Jr. had to pull out of the fight with an eye injury. The boy's damaged goods. I've been saying that since the car accident. And that's not a knock, it's a fact. It's a fact. Damaged goods. And he was not able to fight in this fight against Manny Pacquiao. So, in turn, we were substituted with Manny Pacquiao versus Yordenis Ugas. Now, I like Yordenis Ugas, and Yordenis Ugas did beat Manny Pacquiao convincingly. He did. He won that fight. He did a great job substituting for Errol Spence Jr., but it was not the big fight that everyone had thought we were going to get between Spence and Manny Pacquiao. Look, Manny Pacquiao has, brand recognition. He has a following. Errol Spence Jr. has some American brand recognition, especially in the Texas area. Okay? He generally did his best business with Mikey Garcia, who is a Chicano, who, takes the Mexican-American and Mexican fan base, and he takes their attention wherever he fights and whenever he fights. And that is one of the reasons that, Errol Spence Jr. had some success on pay-per-view and in Texas, where the Dallas Cowboys play in that big fight with Mikey Garcia. But make no mistake about it, Errol Spence Jr. does not have the kind of global following that Manny Pacquiao does or that a Canelo Alvarez does. But Errol Spence Jr. is a much bigger draw and a much bigger star than Yordenis Ugas. So again, another big fight we were promised this summer, we didn't get it. So AJ versus Fury, we didn't get it. Wilder versus Fury, we didn't get it in the summer. Manny Pacquiao versus Errol Spence Jr., we didn't get it in the summer. Now, in the spring, at the end of the spring, when they announced the summer lineup, one of the fights that was announced, because this was at the end of the spring, was the Brandon Figueroa versus Luis Nery fight. And Brandon Figueroa, he went out there and he beat the shit out of Luis Nery. He beat that guy from pillar to post, and in my opinion, that was his marquee performance. That was the best performance of Mr. Figueroa's career. And at the end of the summer, As a matter of fact, this Saturday on the 18th of September, we were supposed to get Stephen Fulton and Brandon Figueroa in this big unification for the WBO title and the WBC title at their respective weight class. However, Brandon Figueroa got corona, got COVID. So, unfortunately, that fight's not happening this summer. Also, we were told, and Canelo Alvarez made this demand, as he does just about every year, that he wants to fight on Mexican Independence Day or Mexican Independence Day weekend. Now, Mexican Independence Day is the 14th, the 16th, and this weekend would have been the weekend of Mexican Independence Day. And he wanted to fight Caleb Plant. Fight didn't happen. Not in the summer. So, all in all, in the summer, what we got as to what we were promised was Yordan Usyk beating an old Manny Pacquiao. That's what we got in the summer. We were also supposed to get Teofimo Lopez and George Kambosos Jr., but that fight was postponed twice, and that was also postponed out of the summer. So this entire summer's been a bummer. Now, in the fall, we have a lineup coming up that is truly something to be excited about, truly has some potential, more potential, in fact, than the summer had before it failed. Fell on its face and failed. Fell farting on the floor, failing. Flailing around foolishly. That's what happened with the summer. But the fall has some potential. Now, in about 2 weeks, a little more than 2 weeks, on the 25th of September, this month, to kick off the fall, we've got Anthony Joshua, AJ, taking on, or rather receiving the challenge, and he will be fighting Alexander Usyk. Anthony Joshua, unified heavyweight champion of the world. WBO, IBF, WBA, IBO, and the champion of the world. In my opinion, the real world's heavyweight boxing champion, Anthony Joshua. He will be fighting Alexander Usyk. Alexander Usyk, undefeated. Alexander Usyk, former undefeated, undisputed cruiserweight champion of the world. Alexander Usyk, Olympic gold medalist. Now, this will be a historic, monumental fight in heavyweight boxing history. First time ever. 2 Olympic gold medalists from the same Olympic year will be squaring off for the World Heavyweight Championship. Exciting stuff. And that's just the first fight. About 2 weeks after that, I am still skeptical. However, I don't want to be pessimistic. I want to be optimistic and positive. 2 weeks after the AJ Usyk fight, we are supposed to get, finally, the third installment of Fury and Wilder. Deontay Wilder, Tyson Fury. Number 3. Deontay Wilder will be challenging the lineal Ring Magazine and WBC World Heavyweight Champion, Tyson Fury. Now, that same week, earlier in the week, on the 4th, it's a little bit strange of a date, but we will get the Teofimo Lopez versus George Kambosos Jr. fight for the unified 135-pound lightweight championship of the world. Teofimo Lopez, who's unified to some, undisputed to others. Ask Devin Haney, I don't know what he'll say. Regardless, on the 4th of October, we're going to get that fight. On the 23rd of October, we're going to get the fight that, in my opinion, will tell who the real man is at 130 pounds. That's right. 130-pound championship of the world. Jamel Herring, the champion, he will be challenged by Shakur Stevenson. Now, this championship fight, in my opinion, the winner of that fight is the man at 130 pounds. Right now, in my opinion, Jamel Herring is the man at 130 pounds. Yes, he is. Oscar Valdez, see you later. Sorry. Not impressed. And Tank Davis, he ain't fought at 130 pounds in years. In years. You don't do it. You don't make weight. Doesn't happen. Sorry. So anybody else at 130 pounds is disqualified, in my opinion. And in my opinion, the man at 130 pounds is Jamel Herring, and he'll be challenged by Shakur Stevenson. Now, that's a great fight. That's a toss-up. And I don't know. That's right. Yours truly, everybody's favorite boxing shaman, the Dream. I don't know who is going to win that fight. I will make a video on that fight and I will give you a pick. I will make a pick. But as of right now, I don't know. I couldn't tell you right now. I couldn't tell you. Now on November 6th, and now this is Scorpio territory, and yes, that's right, everybody's favorite boxing shaman, yours truly, is a Scorpio. November the 10th, that's right, and guess what? Historically, November 10th is a legendary date in the sport of boxing, the great sport of professional boxing, pugilism, beauty and brutality, the sweet science. Guess how I know? Because it's been my birthday, and I always pay attention to boxing, especially around my birthday, and since I was born. Okay, Roberto Duran and Marvin Hagler, November the 10th. Mike Tyson and Evander Holyfield, November the 9th. Evander Holyfield and Riddick Bowe, first or second weekend in November. I believe all three of their fights were, if not two, but maybe all three. George Foreman and Michael Moore, November the 6th. Alexander Usyk and Tony Bellew, November the 10th. Needless to say, every year, November, right around my birthday, I get a gift. And this year will be no different. November the 6th, we will get the fight for the undisputed 168-pound championship of the world. All the belts at super middleweight. Canelo Alvarez, Caleb Plant. They're going to go at it for all the belts. And it's going to be on November 6th. And I'm looking forward to that one. I will be... That fight will have my undivided attention. Been looking forward to that one for quite some time. Now, Caleb Plant, he's a pretty good fighter. The IBF champion, 168 pounds. Canelo Alvarez, WBA, WBC, Ring Magazine, WBO, lineal 168-pound champion. This fight is for all the belts, and I'm excited. And I'll tell you right now, you know what? I won't tell you right now my pick for that fight. But you will get it in the video in the future, as you always do, my friends. Now, last but not least, in the month of November, my personal favorite boxer in the world today, that's right, the American badass, Bud Terence Crawford, the WBO welterweight champion of the world, in my opinion, the best welterweight in the world, the real welterweight champion of the world, the WBO 147-pound champion, Terence Bud Crawford. Terence Crawford, he will be challenged by, listen, out of all the guys over there on the island at PBC, and out of all the welterweights in general, the guy who's fought everybody, win, lose, or draw, Shawn Porter, Showtime Shawn Porter. Now listen, I love Shawn Porter. I do. I like both of those guys. I really do. And I salute and I give all the credit in the world to Shawn Porter. I salute him, give him all the credit in the world for Shawn Porter for stepping up to the plate and taking the challenge, answering the WBO's mandate for him to fight Terence Crawford, getting in the ring with Terence Crawford, because everybody knows by now that nobody from PBC Island has wanted to get in the ring with Terence Crawford. Not Keith Thurman. He asked for something like $12 million. That's called pricing yourself out. $10 million. That's pricing yourself out. Jackass. The guy hasn't fought in 2 years. He sucks. He sucks. Danny Garcia, he didn't want it. Terence Crawford made him an offer. He didn't want it. We all know what happened with Errol Spence Jr. Terence Crawford went right up to him with Bob Arum, offered him the money, said he wanted to fight, and the words out of Errol Spence's mouth himself was, "I want to take the easy street and fight Shawn Porter instead. I'll catch you later on, brother." And what happened? He fought Shawn Porter. He won a close fight, a good fight, close fight. He won, and then he did cartwheels in his Ferrari or his Lamborghini down there in Texas. Did cartwheels in his car like a jackass. He was drunk, irresponsible. Irresponsible. Could have killed a kid. Could have killed a family in another vehicle. Ultimately, he was the only person injured. But in my opinion, now he's damaged goods. Now he's having an eye surgery. We don't know when he's coming back. So Errol Spence Jr., he don't want it. None of those guys wanted it. Shawn Porter, stepping in the ring with Terence Crawford. So, Shawn Porter, I give you the credit where the credit is due for having the cojones, having the guts to step up to the plate, to step in the ring with the American badass. In my opinion, the number 2 pound-for-pound boxer in the world today, Terence Crawford. Terence Crawford, 3-division world champion, former 135-pound champion, former undisputed champion at 140 pounds, and the current WBO champion at 147 pounds. That's happening on November 20th. So, in conclusions, my friends, all the dreamers in Dreamland, the summer, yes, it was a bummer. No doubt about it. Can't do nothing about it. Summer was a bummer. But the fall looks promising. So let's look forward. Let's be positive. And until we meet again, my friends, enjoy this video. I know you will. Until we meet again, my friends, I love each and every one of you, but not nearly equal. It's just the way it is. I know some of you too well to love you that much. Peace!